All right, guys, Bocho's brother is back with another one for you. It's been a while, but I figured with Baldur's Gate 3 coming out this week, it was time to do another book review. And today the book is Planet Apocalypse. Planet Apocalypse, The Nine Hells, Descent into Avernus. Diablo 4 is also out there. So it's just kind of a hellish time. And you know what? Dungeons and Dragons 5e is a good way to get into it. Get yourself out of whatever's going on in this world and go to hell, man. Holy smokes. So I'm going to put these two aside, but I just kind of brought them out because what you can see from this Diablo book here is some incredible artwork which could be found inspirational in your Dungeons and Dragons campaign. In a grim, dark kind of world, there's nothing stopping you from using the great artwork of Brahm to bring some of your monsters and characters to life. So why not? You can just use a beautiful art book like this, tell your players, you just ran into this monk, for example. Or in our campaign, we had in the campaign, what's that one? Not Kingdoms and Warfare, but Strongholds and Followers. We ran the campaign from there, and there was a kind of priestly guy, and I just used this Deckard Cain as the priestly guy in the cloister. So don't be shy. I mean, a lot of these books, I've noticed artwork has become more and more important to me rather than the flavor text or whatever they're trying to tell you about the game mechanics, things like that. If they have some good artwork, that's first and foremost, and the quality of the book. And after that, if they got some good game mechanics, some good subclasses, and some good environments, storyline, places you can go to adventure, then that's all bonus. But if they go wacky on the art, if they're getting goofy, if I get the feeling that I'm in the Care Bears adventures, it doesn't matter what kind of game mechanics they got. Because the game world I'm running, this is what's going on under the earth or in a different plane. There's also Elysium out there in our campaign world, but I don't have that. So there's some artwork from that book. And then, of course, Baldur's Gate, Descent into Avernus. Let me get that centered there. This is a campaign guide. It's great for DMs. But what's really awesome is that the Baldur's Gate game, from what I understand, kind of takes place in Eltruel and, if I'm pronouncing that right, and of course Baldur's Gate. And this book has all kinds of great information on Baldur's Gate, kind of near the end in the Gazetteer. But I think they're even going to have some characters and situations and happenings, things that happen in this campaign in the actual Baldur's Gate game. But so if you're a player, maybe you'd find this book not so useful, but as a DM, it would be great to play the Baldur's Gate game, and then when you go and play a Sunday game with the party, they run into things they've seen in the game. Two games, one on the PC, one in reality, or at the gaming table. You know what I'm saying? So those are the things. There's a NPC in Baldur's Gate 3, which is this tiefling with a busted horn. The name escapes me at the moment. You can write it in the chat below if you know which one it is. But I believe she's in this book and is also working with or trying to escape from this fallen angel here. So that's some crazy stuff. I hope it's in the game. But the book I wanted to share with you today is Planet Apocaplypse. It's developed by David and Ross. This guy also did an excellent kind of Cthulhu book, and Sidney Peterson is your main man. But there is also some collaboration from the people who made the Doom game. And you can see a little bit of that Doom feeling just right here on the cover. These kind of demonic goat men, things like that. Lots of goat horns and teeth and stuff like that. So as you can see, hopefully here on the screen, you get an interior cover with beautiful kind of artwork, which is cool. It's always good to get that. It comes with a bookmark red ribbon, which is also good. So we're talking about good quality build on the book. And then what you get here is just kind of really cool font style, Peterson Games. Everything's done in an art style that feels like you found an ancient book down a cavern, you know, and this book has come from the Nine Hells, and you get just this bloody kind of text in combination with this other one, and then some of this kind of ancient incantation stuff. And kind of the idea behind this book, it's a book for everybody. It's for dungeon masters, but it's also for players, because you're going to get some player options. You get a whole kind of background, a feeling for what things might be like if the Nine Hells were to burst forth into your world. So you could start with the descent into Avernus, and then kind of twist this campaign into that the Nine Hells are actually breaking into all of the world. In our case, it would be Etheris. And then you just get these massive legion armies pouring out of the Nine Hells from this book. And man, that could be massive. You combine that with Kingdoms and Warfare, and then you could have some major scale battles. So let's see here if we can find kind of the main subclasses, because I know that's kind of what people want to get looking at, huh? Characters options. And here you can just get a feeling for that artwork again. Look at this. Look at that hell beast in there. So you'll be able to use great action figures like the ones from the other 7 Deadly Sins and just get gnarly with it. So the subclasses you have in this book are the Barbarian, the Path of the Trophy Hunter. And all of these subclasses are kind of themed with Mad Max, you know, gnarly, chopping off heads, taking trophies, hacked up. This is like beyond grimdark. This is just a brutal world. Almost, I'm thinking Murkborg, if you've ever heard of that game, but that's kind of what you're going to be going for when the armies of hell are bursting out into Faerun or Etheris. You're going to need some people who are pretty heavy hitters, not a lot of shenanigans going on at the pub, and jolliness with bards and stuff like that. It's the path of the trophy hunter, and they get some level up abilities that you can see here as they're collecting the trophies of the monsters they slay. So the heads, and then these trophies give them additional bonuses and cool armor and weapons that they can modify to their class as they level up. So there you have Barbarian Trophy Hunter. You have the Fighter. This one is the Branded. The Branded archetype. Look at this guy with nails in the shoulder, blade coming out of his arm. All this stuff. Let's just take a little perusal, shall we? Let's take a little perusal, see what it says. The Branded. This accursed and corrupted warrior is barely more mortal than fiend, branded with the searing runic scar that paints their flesh. With this brand, acquired through torture and punishment, an arch-fiend has marked them as quarry for other fiends. Bearers of the mark can tap into the fiend's own magic linked by this brand to harness fiendish spells and supernatural powers. Mutated and corrupted, the Branded wield dark powers to lash out in anger and in pain as the instruments of vengeance. Very sloppy. So that's what we're talking about with this book. This one almost seems, Hellraiser. I never saw that movie, but they should definitely make a remake because this is the kind of thing coming out of there. Not so much role playing at the happy pub or the picnic, like I was saying, but this is when you take it beyond that level of Avernus and Baldur's Gate. Our next guy is the monk. You have the Way of the Wastelands, monistic tradition. All right. So this, I think they had a guy kind of like that in Talisman, in one of the Talisman expansions. Just this survivalist who's been surviving in Avernus for some months, and is going to have some abilities that will probably help to survive, like breathing the poisonous atmosphere and everything else that's going on in these hellish landscapes. You have the Eagle's Eye training, reliable talent, survivor spirit, and rapid recovery. Of course, you'll be able to read into this more in more detail if you want to get the book. That's why I do these things, so you can get a chance to look at a book and say, oh, that's something I'd be interested in getting, or oh, that doesn't look like it's for me. So that's the whole story here. So that was the monk. So what do we have so far? A barbarian, a fighter, a monk, and then we have the scrapper, roguish archetype. What's the scrapper up to? Is he a little scrappy? He's got the quick fingers, tools of improvisation. That's a hard one to say. Not too hard. Tool improvisation. There it is. Improvised gear. So this is sounds almost like a kind of an artificer, but just somebody who's grabbing demon hide and horns and blades and stuff like that, and building stuff. What has he got? He's making ball bearings, antitoxins, alchemist fire, elixirs of climbing, elixirs of healing, elixirs of striding and swimming, and what's that? White fire. So man, it was setting up traps, throwing out little grenades and stuff, shrapnel grenades. The roguish scrapper. All of these just look really cool to play. But it's got to be in the right kind of campaign, and that's what it all kind of combines with here. So now we got another one. This is the sorcerer. The sorcerer is the blood of the lost sorcerer. That's demonic, man. That's devilish. Now I hope you've read your Mordekainen's homework and understand that the fiends and devils and pit fiends, these sort of things, are lawful evil kind of hellish creatures. And beyond the hells, deep, I think beyond the river Styx, is the abyss, where you get the demons like the Demigorgon. And these demons just want to tear everything apart and bring total bane and chaos to the world. Whereas the fiends, you can reach some kind of a pact or deal with them. But this sounds to me like in this kind of campaign, the demons are the things that have broken through, and there will be fiendish and hellish creatures that can help you, but that could also be trying to destroy the world as well. So here we got blood of the lost sorcerer, scion of the lost. What is that? Strange sorcery, warriors, fervor. It's kind of just some cool things, but I think he's going to have, look at these kind of scars and runes in the hand. I think he's going to have that kind of pentagram carved in the back of his hand, 6 or 5-starred pentagram, and be doing stuff that can use fiendish powers to help the party. So sometimes the enemy of my enemy is going to be the ally. That's kind of the story here. And those are the subclasses. And then you can get some extra feats through this book, like the apocalyptic mutant claws and horns. As you're turning more fiendish, maybe you're using the fiend transformation from Grim Hollow. So all of this to take into consideration in your campaign here. What other ones do we have? We have, so you can get horns, you can get scales, you can get the Vanishing Strike, the Beacon of Hope, Courage, what's that? Curse Bearer, Defiant, Eyes of the Watcher. So bonus feats, bonus skills, and I believe the book might even come with some extra spells as well. We're just in feats, kind of slowing down here around these class and subclass options, fiendish toxins. So you're getting an idea. There's quite a bit the book has to offer. As I just spoke about spells, look what's going on here. This looks like some sort of a necromancer using necromantic magic to fight back the demons. So you got the magic and spells. This is your whole new spell list to add. Levels 1 to 3. Up to 5th level you got some spells. Cleric spells, bard spells, sorcerer spells, and warlock spells. And everything's going to be pretty gnarly and nasty, you know. That's how we do it in the grim dark world. We go gnarly and nasty. So more cool spells to use in your game. Spell descriptions. We won't get into those too much. But we'll just kind of keep flipping. See if anything catches your eye. New magic items. Those are always fun. So magic items that would pertain to what you might find in the 9 hells. There's all those planes. Asmodeus, Baal, all of those guys. Levistus, the icy plane on the 5th plane of hell. Now that's not specific to this book. That's the original kind of Faerun lore. But then you're just mixing and matching and getting creative, isn't it? So, look at this gnarly thing to club somebody with. Magical items. What in the world is this called? The skeleton. Is it called the Skelemol? The Skelemol? Holy smokes. I'm not going to ruin this. I want it to be a surprise if the party finds it, so I'm not going to read all the descriptions. But so far, so good in this book. And now you get a Planet Apocaplypse adventure. So your DM can take you along for a ride. You don't have to come up with this all yourself, as you could use the adventure in this book, which I will kind of skip over because we don't want to give any spoilers. But I like expansion books that do give you an adventure to help you get the flavor of things in the book. And then you get a World Torn Asunder. What is this about? Doomgates and the Sanguine Ward. Again, look at this art, right? If you're into Doom, man, this is the book for you. Doom, heavy metal music, and the hells. More stuff that can pertain to this world. Here we're talking about curses. More to add to if you're using Grim Hollow. You can add curses. You can use curses and diseases from Grim Hollow and these ones. So your characters in 5e tend to get very powerful, but at the same time, you use books like this and they're going to have a lot of problems. So it's not going to be a cakewalk. Curses, diseases, transformations. Okay. And we're just perusing along here. Monsters. You can never get enough monsters. So this again, even if you're not a DM, just, you know, going through here, looking at the artwork. Look at these Bodak-like creatures, laping skin. This you probably wouldn't see in a Hasbro product these days, which is why I'm so glad they kept that open license for people who want things to be a little bit more rated R, a little bit more horror in their games. Here you have it. So there's a whole monster section, which is a good chunk of the book. I mean, this is pages and pages of monsters. I'd say there must be over 50. just flipping through, and there's still more. Look at these Tarots of Nightmare. Right? It's Sandy Peterson. He made Cthulhu. So you look into the mouth of madness, you're bound to go insane. That's another thing you got to deal with. You got the sanity, the diseases, and the curses, and the transformations, which make a whole, a whole new level of excitement for your players. Because if it's just hit points, a quick healing word and people are back up. But when you got insanities and poisons that can't be resisted and stuff like that, then you got problems. But anyways, the name of the book is Planet Apocaplypse by Sandy Peterson. Tons and tons of monsters, kind of coffee table artwork. There almost gets to be so many of these horrific creatures in this style that for you as the DM, you may be, if you look at these all at once, it's like, whoa, they start to all kind of blend into one another. But if you just release one of these on the party, then, man, they're going to be nervous. Nobody's going to be getting sleep that night. I believe Planet Apocaplypse also made a board game with a bunch of figures. I don't have that, but I would use figures from the other 7 Deadly Sins. The Fiend Lords. More devilish lords that could be working with the ones of the 9 Hells, but that you could use in your campaign. This guy, Lord, what's that? Lord Asmod. Oh man, these are just getting gnarly. I don't know, man. Half the book is gnarly monsters. The beginning of the book, you got the subclasses, the expanded content, expanded mechanics. You get a small little one-shot kind of an adventure, and then here we have it, the table of contents. Then you get monsters, and at the very end they also explain, what's a kako-daemon, what's a thorough demon. They have all kinds of these names and a ranking order of where they start and where they end up. If they're just a little peon at first, they work their way up to becoming something horrific. But if that's something you're interested in, there you have it, Planet Apocaplypse. I am back. I hope to get some more videos going out there. I'm not going to be doing too much editing in order to just, film and shoot, get something out to you guys, and keep the channel going. So if there's some specific book you want to see, let me know. Otherwise, I'll be going through the rest of my 5e collection and then getting into some of that Free League stuff that I have, like Alien and Tales from the Loop and Bison. So there you have it. Another one from Bocho's brother. We'll catch you next time.